I'm here to share my story. Like many of you, my story is also similar. One of my couplets in Urdu goes like this. हमने एक बार भी गिरते तो संभलते कैसे हमने एक बार भी गिरते तो संभलते कैसे खुशगुमानी तेरी दलदल से निकलते कैसे unless I would have fallen how would I have recollected myself and risen again and all these good things good feelings that I had about myself how would I have how would I come out of those things I have so many friends I have so many things but nothing works unless you work. My story is a small story. A person, a boy, born in a very small village, consisting of around 500 odd families. No school, primary school up to class 4. 3 teachers, each coming in rotation. So at a point of time, 1 teacher. My mother was not educated. She was highly dissatisfied with that kind of education and thought कि मेरा बेटा तो बिगड़ जाएगा. He will have no future. So at the age of 5, she packs my bag and sends me to her parents' place for education. So my migration started when I was 5, way back in 1975, 76 odd. So today if you see a child who is 5 years old and just keep that child apart from the mother or the father, you will see the child will come running after the mother. Here I going with all my things. So very early I started this, I felt this loneliness. And I had this question before me, who am I? How do I define myself? What is my place in this new system, in this new setup? How do I make my identity known? See, everybody was in their home, their place, their parents were there, their relatives were there, and obviously they felt loved, they felt cared for. But I am kind of outsider. You go to a relative's place for how many days? Few hours, few days. Maybe in summer holidays, 1 or 2 weeks. You come back. There was no comeback for me. So what do? Depression comes naturally under circumstances. You feel bad. You feel being left over. You feel being pushed over. So there are 2 ways in which I could have coped with that. One, I come back to my parents' place and do whatever was available there, or I try to break this jinx and create an identity of my own. I should not be defined by who my relatives are. I should be defined by who I am. It's a hard choice, difficult choice. So I chose the difficult one. Okay? 5-year-old, but I started learning. So whatever books were available, I started reading them. Lot of books, lot of magazines were coming to my uncle's place. They were of all kinds. There were film magazines, there were stories, there were literary magazines, there were many crime magazines, there were novels and all those things. And as a child, I started reading them. Now, there are certain books or magazines which are not appropriate for, say, a 6, 7, 10-year-old child. For example, you cannot read probably a crime magazine where murders are there, where other things are there. That creates a lot of impact on you. But reading enabled me to visualize. In a village where I hardly go outside. Nearest town was 3 kilometers away, and that there I used to go only when my duty was put in, we go for milling of the grains. So when I take grains, then I go as attendant, kind of supervisor with that. I was not exposed. There were no television. There was no mobile phone. There were no newspapers coming in the village. But if you read, you start imagining about things. The mental picture comes. So I started visualizing. And this visualization led me to understand so many different things. It opened my vision. It opened my understanding about the world. The more I read, the more visualization started coming. It's like a film moving in front of your eyes. Early on, my father was an avid reader of, jasusi novel or detective novels. In Urdu, there was a very famous writer, Ibn Safi. He has written a lot of good spy novels. So I started reading them. So once you read a spy novel, you learn so many different things. So gradually, I started upgrading my knowledge from whatever I was getting. You know, as a child, I was attracted to film magazines. So I saw a film magazine, I would cut a film star's photograph and paste it on my room. What will happen next? Scolding. But it is this way. So he scolded a number of times. Sometimes you read those magazines and I say, you read Ved Prakash Patel as you read Sundar Sharma and this and that. Nalai, what will happen to your future? But then, when I used to go to town for this milling purpose, so, my district place is Araria. There was no guarantee of electricity being available. And this was a mill where you needed 440 volts. So you are there, you reach there, there's no electricity. What do? You cannot sit there. So there was a kind of small library having comics. So 3 rupees. The price of comics in 80s used to be 3 rupees. So if you read it standing there, they will charge you 30 paisa. 10%. I didn't have enough money to purchase, so I used to go tell 30 paisa. In 1 rupee I could read 3 to 4 comics. Just standing there. See, comics is not only about a story, it is also taking you to a different world. And then you visualize those things, कि submarine को submarine कैसे निकल गया. You understand so many things. So, it made you aware about the world. And when you become aware about the world, you are not satisfied with what is happening all around you. My dreams grew bigger than what was available in my time, in my village, in my town. What was the highest dream which people had? To become a doctor, to become an engineer, to become a lecturer. I'm not saying these are bad professions. But I started thinking differently. Ye karke kya hoga? What will happen if I also become a doctor? I should do something more. And as your awareness grows, you also start seeing around you. So there are a lot of injustices in the society. I have seen money lenders who lend money at exorbitant rate of interest, 5% per month compound interest. What happens? A villager, a poor farmer, if he borrows money, he is never able to pay back. So what happens? He loses first his land, then his cattle, and then his own life. He actually becomes a servant to that money lender. Keeps on serving him in lieu of the interest, which was supposed to be paid back. I saw these injustices and I used to think, why? Why this? How can we change this? Can we help these people who are being wronged, who are being treated unfairly, unjustly? Because in a village setup, might is right. The access to law and law enforcement is extremely poor. Even now, in many of the rural parts of the country, if you go, people do not know. They will not go to a court. They will not go to a lawyer, despite the best lawyers being available here also. Because once I go to a lawyer, I do not know how much time will it take for my case to be disposed of, and secondly, I will not have resources to fight the case only. So how to help people? Then I used to see people, say police station people coming, and the kind of style, a power statement a small thanadar, bada babu or chota babu will make in a village. He is the kind of embodiment of government. So I realized that I should also join something like this. So gradually my dreams started getting bigger. I was not satisfied. Then I thought of joining civil services. Now I was studying in vernacular language, Urdu. I wrote my 10th exam in Urdu. First 10, and I secured pretty good marks. I was admitted to the best college in Bihar at that point of time, Patna Science College. I go to Science College Patna. I see all around myself. Somebody coming from one of the convents, somebody coming from a DPS school, somebody coming from a very good private school and all that, and one who is from a Tatpati school, one Thai school kind of thing. I look at them and sometimes I look at myself, I say, I have studied under a kerosene lamp. And these people come from such wonderful background, they had all resources. How could I secure more marks than them? And even then, I'm not able to speak good English because I started studying English only in class 4. So, and my medium of instruction in college was English. So, how do I ensure that I shift from this to that? How do I cope up with that pressure? Again, either I quit or I strive harder and harder and bring myself up to that level. So, the thing that I started doing in my college, I started observing people. So, what good qualities they have, and how can I inculcate those good qualities in me? Because, as I told you, I was educated in a kerosene lamp, and still I was taught in the hostel. These people felt some kind of abhorrence in talking to me, नीचे है, smart नहीं है, that kind of thing. And I used to think, what is in them which I am lacking, and how can I bring that into myself? So I started observing what you call a SWOT analysis. What is their strength? What is their weakness? What is my strength? What is my weakness? And how can I get the better things into myself? I realized that there is no limit to your self-improvement and self-learning. You can learn as many things by observing. Two ways. One, if something is good in somebody, how can I bring that into myself? And if something is wicked in somebody, how can I ensure that I am at a distance? How do I keep myself safe from that kind of habit? So both the things led me to grow as a person. I went to study humanities. Everybody is going for a safe career, engineer, medical is such a safe career, and all those things. I could never convince myself that that is my dream. And it is very important to understand what your dream is. Because unless you pursue your dream, you will never be satisfied. You have to chase it, howsoever difficult it may be. So I switch over to humanities. Now in an arts college, the environment is very different. In arts college, we have politics. In arts college, we have crime. In arts college, we have a lot of other things, maramari. In arts college, we have groupism. In arts college, there are fightings on girls, fighting on region, religion, so many things. And understand that was a period of late 80s, early 90s, when all the country was influenced by a wave of communal frenzy. This I've realized. This I've seen through my own eyes. I've seen riots taking place. I've seen those shoutings. So, how do I cope up? And it so happened that I took geography. I went there and taught. Now, all those people who were studying geography since 11th and 12th, they had their own grouping. Obviously, nobody welcomes an outsider who comes and talks. Because then you are challenging the established power structure. So I started reading my own things beyond what course warranted. Whatever books I could get on the footpath, if you go to Patna, you will find a lot of books being sold, old books being sold. Books which are published by international publishers available at throwaway prices. So from class 4 onward, whatever scholarship I got, I spent on books. Like it used to happen, I used to withdraw money from bank, used to go to a bookstore. He was kind enough to let me in. आप जाके खुद ही देख लो. Used to purchase all the books that I like, spend all the money, and go back with empty pocket to my hostel. But it allowed me to learn and learn from many, many, many dimensions. From zero to this level where I'm standing before you and delivering a TED talk, it is not an impossible journey. I am the example of that, and you can also be. So all these debates, all these quizzes, all these things, they led me to believe in myself. Let me tell you, my trials, my issues, my problems, my challenges have only grown bigger. So no life will be without a challenge ever, unless you close your eyes. How do you face those challenges? And how do you find a solution to that? What I try to do, I try to leave the place a better place. Wherever I have gone, wherever I have lived, with whomsoever I have interacted, I have tried to contribute something from my side. We become big not by growing ourselves. We become big when we grow with others. We grow with the society where we live. When we contribute to the society and see that my happiness is actually the happiness of the rest of the people. I share their happiness. I share their sorrows also. And I share their progress also. If that is the mindset, then only we can bring a change, a difference in the society. All kind of people will come into your life. It is your choice with whom you cooperate, with whom you work, and how do you build a team. If you are able to build a team, if you are able to trust people, if you are able to delegate, if you are able to empower them, believe me, you can create wonders. Whoever has succeeded, and people have succeeded with him, he or she will be an example of this kind of team building. If you build team in administration, we succeed. If you build team in religion, we succeed. If you build team in corporate things, we succeed. Why? Because my own growth is less important. But if I make other people grow with me, I actually ensure that I get synergy. And that synergy will take me to places. And let me tell you, this synergy will never come if you start promoting yourself all the time. If you want to put your picture, if you want to take all the credit, It will not happen. It will happen only when you say this is a teamwork. We all have that. I am just the face. But let me tell you, those who work with the team, they are the people who create legacy, who build something which sustains. So my choice early on in the life was this: what do I do with success? When I qualified for IPS, and there was a long story, I did not share that. But let me tell you, people will come, and the way they approach you will change overnight. You know, I remember the moment I learned about my result, I suddenly become high up vis-a-vis my colleagues, others who had not succeeded. How do I relate with them? How do I relate with the society? Because suddenly you become a hero. I was a nobody, and suddenly I become a hero. And then 25 years down the line, you will have enough number of people, psychophants, praising you left, right, and center. If you tend to believe that praise, you are in a fool's paradise. Let me tell you, always take this reality test. Please go and interact with the people. Please interact with the lowest of the low. Please go on food. Please sit with them. Please speak to them about their story, their life. And then you realize as a human being what I am. And you will then realize that I was also one like them. But it is my creator whose grace has been on me. You know, Mr. Mehdi Hassan, probably the most famous ghazal singer. Once in his interview, he was asked, Mehdi Hassan, आप how much more music you know? आप कितना music जानते हैं? So there was a glass of water in front of him. He picked up the glass, put this finger here, this much. This was wet. He said, if this glass is music, I know this much. This is his humility. Humbleness, humility will make you big, will make you great, and will ensure that the team who is working with you actually feels great in associating with you. So, I always go for a reality check. I will often go, sit down somewhere, incognito. Nobody will recognize me. I will go listen to people, talk to them. What are their pains? What are their sufferings? And how, as a human being, I can ensure that I contribute something in their betterment. This led me to founding two organizations, two NGOs. Last year, when this lockdown was on, we could manage 30,000 food packets for 2 months for the stuck up work. Nothing mine, no achievement of mine. I knew X, Y, Z, ABC. I called up, sir, log bhuke hain, they have nothing to eat. Kindly contribute. I have heard your organization is doing this. I could collect 30,000 food packets. Let me tell you, that also included food from Thai sacks, the food that you get in the flight. That was distributed in slums also. So many other organizations help me. It is all about your credibility. If you build credibility, people will believe in you and the cause that you are espousing, the cause that you are advocating. If that cause is correct, sincere, useful to the society, they will come. We could find that during this crisis. I have been scolded when workers were going back home. They were not getting paid reservation. I would get a phone call from my villagers. आप हमारे लिए क्या कर रहे हैं? हमको सीट नहीं मिल रही है. 4 घंटे से लाइन में खड़े हैं. रजिस्ट्रेशन नहीं हो रहा है. Why I had to put one officer on this job only. Why please ensure that these people get registration quickly and they get a seat in the train to return back to their homes. I cannot behave and retort them in a fashion that तुम कौन हो? समझता है? नहीं. He is in pain. He is actually suffering. I am a fortunate person that I am not suffering. I have got a house. I have got things to eat. I have got an office to work. I get a good salary. But what about this worker? So I must share his or her pain and ensure whatever best I can do. See, I cannot arrange a train, but I can surely ensure that the registration is quicker. I can surely ensure that he gets a seat. I can surely ensure he gets a box khana and a bottle of water on his way back to his home. If I am able to do this, please believe that the smile on the face of that person, the teardrop falling from his eyes, will give you the true meaning of your life. Nothing else matters. That matters. What you have done for people, what you have done for yourself is history. Let people write about that. What you have done for others is what you have actually achieved in life. And this achievement, whoever has been able to do, is the one whom we remember today. We always read about the people who made a change or difference in the life of others. If you want to be remembered post death, It is not the empire that you create. Caesar created empire, Mughals created empire, so many other people created empire. We read them about the history textbooks. We never quote them as examples. Who we quote as example? Those who made a difference in somebody else's life. I am trying to do it now. Thank you.